Well, hello YouTube. Welcome back to Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And it is 2:44 a.m. And I went in there to go to sleep and couldn't do it. So the reason for that is because I can't get something I seen today out of my head. And it kind of inspired me to do a video. I've seen today for the first time. Now I've seen plenty car wrecks in my time, but I've only seen them after they had already been played out. I seen one today that kind of affected me in a way that I didn't think it would. Kind of pulled on the heartstrings a little bit. Me and my buddy Terry was here. Well, he come here and I did an oil change on his truck, and I had taken the drive shaft out of my truck right before that, and because the fix on my drive shaft didn't hold up because I used the MIG welder instead of the stick welder, or at least that was my consensus on it. We don't know if it's going to hold up, but anyway, I don't think I got this camera right. But anyway, I took the drive shaft out and pulled the front yoke off of it, and it came off in two pieces because my truck went back to vibrating again. And when I found out that weld on the yoke that I put on it didn't hold up, I decided to go ahead and try to get somebody else to weld it with a stick welder. And there's a drive shaft shop just right up the street here from me, and if I was strong enough I could throw a rock at it. But anyway, after I got his oil change done, I was trying to get the neighbor who's supposed to be a welder to come up, and I would have everything set up and ready for him to weld it, and he never did show. So I asked Terry, I said, will you run me over there real quick and see if we can get them to weld it up for me? And he did. Well, on our way back, we stopped. There's a car wash right down the street from us at an intersection that badly needs a stoplight. Well, I didn't see all of it. I did see the one car come off the ground over top of the other car that he hit, and almost landed on its top, but somehow ended up on two wheels and fell back down and bounced on the ground in the right side up. I immediately jumped out of the vehicle and ran to see if there was anything I could do to help anybody, just in case there was somebody stuck in the vehicle. And this involved an older gentleman, probably my age or maybe a little older. Hell, he might have just been my age. But he was the one who was coming down the road and hit another car, which was an SUV. It had a woman in it and 2 kids that I know of. I don't know if there was somebody else in it or not. But it was a little white SUV, and smoke was rolling out of the engine compartment. So I rushed to try to get everybody out of that one first, because it looked like it was in the most dangerous situation. By the time I had ran over there, they had already grabbed the kids and got them out of the car and over, heading towards the side of the road. And it was 2 young kids, and the way I see it, I think the old man was coming down the road, and they go down that road way too fast anyway. He was coming down the road, and the only way I could see this playing out in my mind, if I was able to see past the vehicles that was in front of me, I would have imagined that she might have pulled out in front of him, and he was probably going too fast. They hit and spun the woman and the 2 kids around in the middle of the road. He went over the vehicle and almost landed on the top, and then it did rest on its bottom though, on the tires, but both sides was smashed in to the point. It was a 4-door car. It was smashed in so bad on both sides, we couldn't even get the car doors open to get him out of the car. And he was bleeding. He was having chest pains, so we dare not pull him out of the vehicle just in case there's something wrong. So I went back over to the kids, and the older kid was laying on the ground and everybody hovering around him, and I don't know if he was in serious pain, but he seemed cheerful and alert. And in the meantime, there was his little brother, I guess, was hollering, "I want my hat." And he kept feeling his head. He couldn't feel his hat on his head, and he says, I need my hat," and he started crying. Well, the first thing I done was shut the vehicle off, and as soon as I shut the vehicle off, it stopped smoking. So apparently a belt was running against something and smoking, because it was blue smoke. It was a rubber smoke, kind of bluish gray. So I shut the vehicle off, and I grabbed both the hats that was laying right there next to the vehicle, and I took them over to the kid and gave them to the kid. And that about broke my heart, man. And then there was a 3rd car that was involved, with 2 young ladies in it, and they were just a victim of circumstances. They were just close enough for when he hit the car or the SUV, it came over and hit the car that was behind her. So there was 3 cars involved, and the cops had a pretty good response time. Not fast enough for me, but it was decent. But anyway, I just wanted to say, guys, be careful out there. You know, a vehicle is a pretty big weapon. That's the only way I can describe it. A vehicle can be a very powerful weapon, and in the wrong hands, it can be devastating. Be careful out there. You know, don't take nothing for granted. Don't be using your cell phone. Now, I'm not saying anybody's using one, but I'm just using that as one of the things I can think of that would be a reason why somebody would take their mind off the road. You know, use caution, guys. Look both ways when you're pulling out. Don't be on your cell phone. You know, look out for one another. You know, people would just pay more attention and stop being in such a big hurry. There's nothing in this world that's so important that you have to risk your life and other people's lives by being in such a big hurry to get there. It's not worth it. So, you know, with that said, just be careful, guys. I've done cried over that kid twice already, and I didn't think that was going to affect me like that. But, you know, I'm about ready to well up right now just thinking about that poor little kid. You know, he was thinking, all he could think about was his hat, you know, and it kind of broke my heart, you know. But just be careful, guys. That was the first wreck I ever seen actually play out, and I really didn't get to see but the ending of it. And it kind of bothers me. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to chat with you guys, man, and maybe let you guys know some of the things that's going on with the Bison Workshop right now. I did sell the, excuse me, guys. I did sell my Xterra. I didn't get 4,000 like I wanted, but I did get 32. So all my bills are paid. Even PayPal is done. Don't owe them nothing. $1,400 went to them. So it's done. I'll have no more horses on my back. Or monkeys, or whatever you want to call it. So I had some extra left, and I did something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and the PCP air rifle that I tried to build brought this on, and it brought it on hard. I was so ashamed of that 243 air rifle that I tried to build. I could not get it to work. I still can't get it to work. I finally gave up on it. It's done. In fact, if anybody wants it, I will give it to you for free. You email me, I will give it to you. All I ask is you pay for the shipping. If you can do something with it, that's fine. I'm done with it. It's over. It's a chapter that's forgotten about in my life. But because I was so ashamed of that gun, and I wasn't able to achieve the goal that I wanted, I just wanted to make a big bore air rifle. And yes, 243 is not a big bore, but that was going to, I was cutting my teeth on that so that I could eventually build a big bore air rifle. So because that didn't work out the way I'd planned, and it actually sent me into a bad depression. There for about a month, all I did was sleep. I didn't care about nothing anymore. You know, I was done. So because of that, I went and bought 2 guns. I went and bought a Dragon Claw 50 caliber air rifle by Sang Young, and I also bought a 25 caliber Umarex Galant. There's real good reviews on those, and I went ahead and got those. I've been wanting them, and it's actually the Dragon Claw is not the one I actually wanted. The one I actually wanted was the Umarex Hammer. The Umarex Hammer is a 50 caliber, and it is the most powerful air rifle ever built. It has, when it shoots at 700 foot-pounds of energy. That's pretty badass. And I'll show you that gun right here, right now. And this one is the Dragon Claw. And this one is the Umarex Galant 25 caliber. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do any reviews on it. I'm not going to do any reviews unless I get something out of it. I'm just not going to do it. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm tired of giving people credit and I don't get nothing in return. That's terrible, ain't it? But let's see, what else? I still can't get that wreck out of my mind. I ain't never seen a car come off the ground like that, man. It must have, when she pulled out, I guess he must have hit it and did this number. I think he actually did a somersault in his car. Because I remember seeing that car over top of the car that was in front of us. Because it was us, a car in front of us, and then the 2 women that got hit when the other car got hit. I guess it just moved that car back into them. And then the one that actually got hit, and then the vehicle that plowed into the side of that one. That one, I swear, I think when it hit, it done a nosedive and then flipped over and kind of did a sideways somersault and then landed on its wheels. That's the way I seen it. You know, that's the only way I can see it. That was pretty serious for me. And I hope everybody made it out of that okay. I'm sure that the old man went to the hospital. I'm not sure about the kid. He acted like he was okay, but he was holding himself right here, so we wouldn't let him move just in case there was something wrong that if we had moved him, it could have caused more damage. So, but man, I don't understand people, man. People don't pay attention anymore. And there needs to be a light at that intersection. People have been preaching for a light for that intersection for a long time. And I am going to call whoever I need to call. I don't know who I need to call, but somebody needs to be called and protest getting a traffic light there, because it desperately needs one. I mean, I heard 2 or 3 people screaming out, there needs to be a light there. They've been needing to be one there for years. And everybody from the car wash, every bay was full with people washing their cars, and I seen them all turn around and run towards the vehicles to help them out. I'm just glad to see that there was so many people there that was ready to jump into action, because everybody jumped into action really fast, and I was impressed to see that happen. That warmed my heart to know that there was that many people that was around to help these people out. They were in a bad way right now, or at that time. So, just be careful, guys. There's too many people out there rushing to get somewhere who takes these vehicles for granted that, oh, there ain't nothing bad going to happen. Yes, there is bad going to happen. If you're not paying attention and you don't follow the rules of the road, you're going to end up just like that. So, vehicles are not something to play with. You're taking a lot of responsibility in your hands when you put yourself behind the wheel of a vehicle. If you're going to put your... Let me just put it this way. The next time you get in your vehicle, I would like for everybody that's watching this video to sit at their steering wheel and say to yourself, I have a lot of people's lives in my hands when I start this vehicle. If you do that, I promise you, you will definitely be more alert to what's going on around you. It ain't no different than a carnival ride. I worked the carnival for 10 or 11 years. And when you get on your ride and you're putting people in them buckets to ride the ride, they're there to have fun, not die. You have a lot of responsibility on your hands, and them people depend on you. Just like in a car, people depend on you to drive right, respect other people. You're not in that big a hurry. You shouldn't be in that big a hurry. No one should be in that big a hurry, ever. That was a bad wreck for me to see. I didn't like seeing that. But God put us there for a reason, and I don't know if it was just to get that little boy smiling again by giving him his hat. I don't know why I was there, but who knows, maybe this video was why I was there. I don't know, but that one hit me pretty hard, especially since I can't sleep. Hey guys, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. So anyway, I did sell the Xterra, so that was a good thing. I got a bunch of things taken care of that needed to be taken care of, and even got things that I would like to have had for myself. So that Xterra, as much stuff that I put on that vehicle it did me right. Guy came here and looked at it, and the next day he couldn't find somebody to help him drive it home because he couldn't drive two vehicles. So I drove it about, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes away to his house, and then he brought me back. And believe it or not, in the state of North Carolina, when you sell a vehicle, it actually has to be notarized. I ain't never heard of no such shit. That's crazy. I always land in the states that's got dumb rules. I wonder what the next state's gonna have. You can't smile in public. Public? I couldn't even speak right. I'm thinking about working on the shop. I don't know if this is going to work out or not. It don't look like I'm going to get another shop, so I've got to fix this one. I'm not looking forward to that because there's several reasons why I don't want to touch this shop. Number one, it's got aluminum siding on it. It doesn't have panels, it has siding. So it's got strips on it that it starts at the bottom with the bottom one, and then the next one comes up. It's got these little things on the bottom of it that slides up into the S-groove and locks into place. And then you tack it, and then you slide the next one in up underneath of it and lock it, and then tack that one, and so on. Well, it's all one piece the whole length of the trailer. So in order to get those off, you have to take the whole side off, which means you've got to take window frames out. All the windows have to be taken out of it, because the whole 8 foot of the back of the trailer has to be completely reframed. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. However, it is my shop. It is my way of fixing things that I need to fix. It is a way for me to put YouTube videos up. Without that shop, my channel would go south. Of course, I'm sure I could find another way to do videos, but this is just comfortable, more comfortable. But you have to take all the windows out on both sides, and you have to take the door frame out, and that's another thing. The door needs to be replaced. It's falling apart. And the front wall on the door side, it has to be replaced. So I would have to take both sides off, all the windows, the door, vents, whatever, all that has to be taken off. Alright, well, then I'm open to the weather. So if it decides to rain, I'm stuck with an open framed camper. And that's just to get to see what's going on with it. Alright, I already know that the walls, the whole 8 foot back of it, maybe even 10 feet, needs to be replaced. I already know that they're rotten. In order for it to be fallen, that means that the floor is not holding the wall up no more, because the way they build these campers is they put the floor down first and then they mount the walls to the floor. Well, if the wall's fallen, that means that the floor is gone too. Well, then I got to figure out how I'm going to jack all that up just to get it to where it's supposed to be. Then replace all the studs and the floor, whatever's bad on the floor. I got to strip out the whole inside. That's a lot of work for a 53-year-old man who's disabled. I don't know if I have the body to do that. It's just too much. So I'm kicking it around to just take the very back panels off and fix that part and put it back together. It's a good possibility that I can fix the biggest part of it by just fixing the back. Then I can go and later on take one side off and fix that part, and then once I've got it fixed, then later on down the road fix the next part. I don't know yet. It is a 93. I just don't think it's worth it. What it needs to be done is take everything out of it, put it in another shop, and be done with it. And strip that one down, sell it, or scrap the aluminum, make some money off of it, tear it down, take everything I can get out of it that I can use, like wiring. The breaker box will go in the new one if I do get a new one, because it's a 200 amp breaker box. Then I can take and turn the frame into a flatbed. Of course, it would have to be shortened, because you don't want that long a frame for a trailer. Because somebody, if I ever sold it, somebody would overload it, thinking that it was more trailer than it is. I also thought maybe I could take the frame and shorten it short enough to put it underneath my building. That way, if I ever move here, I don't have to tear my building down piece by piece, screw by screw, and move it, and then not be able to put it back exactly the way it was. If I could take the trailer out from underneath the shop I have now, cut it down to the size of my 8x10 or 8x8. Actually, I think it's a 8x10. I think. I'm not sure. I think it's 8 deep, 10 wide. I can put a trailer underneath that, and if I ever need to move it, I can move it. Simple as that. There's a lot going on with that shop. I just don't think it's worth it. Now, you guys can tell me what you think, and I'll listen. But that doesn't mean I'm going to do what you tell me I need to do. We might do some reviews on the guns. I know I'm beating a dead horse now. Just trying to think of what else I need to mention. I'm tired right now is what it is. I'm wore out, but every time I try to close my eyes, I think about that wreck today. I must be getting mushy, because stuff like that didn't never bother me like that. It was the kid that's what did it. That kid pulled at my heartstrings. When that little kid started crying about his hat, man, that was all I could think about, was making that kid happy. And I went and picked them all up. There was 2 hats laying on the ground. Well, one was laying in the floorboard, in the driver's floorboard, and the other one was laying on the ground outside the driver's side door. So I grabbed both of them and turned the key off, pulled the key out, and took it over and gave it to the woman who owned it. and because she said, should I turn it off? And I said, you take care of your kids, I'll turn it off. And that's what I did. So anyway, this is getting a long chat. Just be careful, guys. Don't take for granted that somebody else is going to look out for something that you should have. Look both ways before you, if you have to, look twice. People's lives are in your hands when you're behind the wheel of that car. And what I've seen today proves it all too well that I'm right. So anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to contribute to the shop, you can do so with PayPal at bisonworkshop@gmail.com. If you want to send me an email to just chat or whatever, remember guys, at the beginning of my video it has my email address. At the end of my video it has this same exact email address. So you got two choices there. So there's actually 3 ways to find out what my email is. Pay attention to the video. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later.